Hi, it's Future from Sewmate. Welcome to my channel. I'm going to be showing you how to draft and make this very easy full circle skirt pattern with just one seam at the center back. So you can do this on your fabric directly. I'm doing it on pattern paper so you can see what I'm doing. If you need a detailed tutorial on different circle skirt patterns, I've got a tutorial on this channel on how you can make all those. So I'll leave a link in the description below and a link above as well. So you only need two measurements, which are your waist measurement and your skirt length. So for your waist measurement, remember to include two seam allowances for the center back seam because we're going to be adding a zipper at the center back seam. I prefer to use 1.5 centimeter seam allowances. So for one seam, we've got two seam allowances. So I'm gonna add 3 centimeters to my 92 centimeters, which is my waist measurement. Okay, so for me, the total measurement for my waist, I'm going to be using 95 centimeters. Then go ahead and calculate your skirt radius, which you're gonna get by dividing your waist measurement plus seam allowance by 6.28. So my waist measurement plus seam allowances is 95 centimeters, and I'm gonna divide that by 6.28 to get my radius of 15 centimeters. Now we're going to use this 15 centimeters and decide on your skirt length. I'll be using 50 centimeters. Now let's start drafting our pattern. Draw a straight line on one edge. Then we're going to go ahead and square another line on this side. Now from this point here, we're going to measure along this line for our skirt radius. Mine is 15 centimeters, so I'm just gonna measure 15 centimeters and just square a little line there. Then I'm gonna pivot my ruler all around, measuring 15 centimeters until I get to this line. Next, get your curved ruler and just smoothen everything out. So this is our radius. Then we're going to measure from this line, going this way, for our skirt length. Mine is 50 centimeters. So measure your 50 centimeters from this line going all around until you get to this line here. Now get your curved ruler and just smoothen all this. Now we're gonna go ahead and add a seam allowance to the waist here and to the hem of the skirt. So I'll be using 1 centimeter for both. Now get your curved ruler and smoothen everything out nicely. Now labeling the pattern, full circle skirt pattern. Cut 1 on 4 folds. And I put my initial. So by 4 folds, what I mean is you get your fabric. So this is lengthwise, and we're going to go ahead and fold it this way. And then we fold it again this way. So when you are cutting your pattern now, this will be your radius here, and your skirt length will be up there. So after cutting your pattern, you'll be left with something like this, okay, for your full circle skirt. And then you're going to go ahead and just cut through one fold, just cut a straight line anyway for our center back seam. So this will be our center back seam, okay? Next, cut around the pattern. Now to add our grain line, we're just going to take this edge, align it with the other edge, make a crease. Then we're going to add our grain line right here, since most of the skirt is going to be on bias anyway. And our full circle skirt pattern is finished. Now we're moving on to making our waistband. Now for the waistband pattern, you only need your waist measurement, and you're going to add 2 centimeters each to that. So for me, my waist measurement is 92 centimeters. So plus 2 centimeters is, I'm gonna get 94 centimeters. And you decide on the waistband width. I'm using 5 centimeters. So we're basically going to draw a rectangle of 94 centimeters by 5 centimeters. First, fold your pattern paper in half lengthwise. Now measure your waistband length. Mine is 94 centimeters. Square a line up both ends from the fold line. Now from the fold line, we're going to put in our waistband width, which is 5 centimeters for me, all the way lengthwise. Now we're going to be having only one seam at center back, so this is going to be our center back, and this is our center back as well. So we're going to add our seam allowances. I'm using 1.5 centimeters seam allowances like what I added on my skirt. So adding 1.5 centimeters on each end. Then we're going to put our joining seam allowance at the top here of 1 centimeter. Then adding notches to the pattern. And labeling the pattern, waistband, cut 1, plus 1 fusing. And I put my initial. Now cut around the pattern. Now open your pattern. And we're going to go ahead and transfer all the markings to the other side. Then I'm going to add my grain line in the middle of the pattern lengthwise. And our waistband pattern is finished as well. So all our patterns are finished. Now we're moving on to sewing. Now moving on to sewing our skirt. So what you need are your completed patterns, your fabric, your zipper, and your cutting tools. Let's move on to cutting our fabric. Now all our pattern pieces are cut and ready to sew. So the first thing you're gonna do is to take your waistband piece and you're gonna go ahead and interface it like I've done mine here. Okay, then I'm gonna put this on the side. Get your skirt piece and lay it on the table with the right side facing up. Then get your waistband piece. We're going to go ahead and match our waistband piece with the waistline of our skirt with the right side face. Just match it along the waistline and pin along. Now we're going to take this to the sewing machine and we're going to sew along this seam here with a 1 centimeter seam allowance, back taking at the beginning and the end. So we've done that and we're going to go ahead and clip along this seam here. Now we're going to take this to the overlocker and overlock down the center back seams here from the hem all the way to the top of the waistband for both sides. Let's do that. Okay, so I have done that. I went ahead and overlocked the center back seam, and I also ironed the waistband in half lengthwise and ironed the seam allowance under as well. Okay, so now we're going to align our center back seam. And since I'm using an invisible zipper, I'm just going to measure from the middle of my waistband here, where the notch is for where we are going to be folding it. Okay, measure from there all the way down the center back seam for 18 centimeters. Just put a notch. So that's our zipper notch there. Okay, so 18 centimeters from the middle of our waistband, from the fold line where our waistband is going to be folding back. Now we're going to go ahead, align the center back seam and just pin from the zipper notch all the way down to the hemline. Now take this to the sewing machine and just finish off the center back seam from zipper notch all the way down to the hemline, back taking at the beginning and end. When we finish, we're going to go ahead and install our invisible zipper from the fold line of our waistband right here where the notch is all the way down to the notches. Okay, let's go and do that. Okay, now so I've sewn on my center back seam and I finished inserting my zipper here. Now I'm gonna go ahead and finish off this part here. So just grab the top part of the waistband and just go on the notch for the fold line and just fold it back like this, aligning it to the zipper and just pin along. Repeat the same on the other end. Now make sure your seam allowance here is folded up, making sure that it's covering this seam here. Now we'll take this to the sewing machine and just sew from the fold line to the folded edge here for both sides. Then we'll turn this to the right side and we're going to go ahead and push the seam allowance up like this. Then we're going to fold down our seam allowance for the waistband and make sure that we cover the seam here from the inside, and we're going to be sewing from the right side here with a ditch stitch all along this seam line, making sure that we're catching everything at the back here. When we finish that, we're going to go ahead and hem our skirt as well. So I'm just going to do a double turned hem. Let's go and do that. Okay, now so I finished sewing on the hem and it's looking nice and neat, and my skirt is finished and I'm happy with the result. Thank you.